Inland climates far from large bodies of water tend to exhibit a high degree of seasonal variation in temperature. Coastal climates near large bodies of water tend to exhibit far less variation and thus a far more temperate climate. And then it just says why. So the explanation is that these large bodies of water I keep referencing represent a large amount of heat capacity. And so that means for a coastal climate, if you're near an object that has a large amount of heat capacity, that object has the ability to heat its surroundings or heat the nearby coastal climate without suffering a large drop in temperature because, again, it has a huge heat capacity. That gives it the capacity to do that. It's maybe one way of thinking about it. I kind of said earlier, heat capacity is kind of like thermal inertia. So even if you take a lot of energy in the form of heat from the body of water, the ocean that is, it does not change its temperature very much, which means it has a lot of heat available to it, or maybe thermal energy is a better word there, to do that. So in winter, the coastal climate is not going to get quite as cold because it has this nearby body of water that's able to transfer heat into the nearby atmosphere of the coastal region, and therefore influence its climate and prevent the temperatures from dropping as drastically as they do inland. In summer, kind of the opposite happens. At that point, the body of water becomes a good heat absorber, but it's the same physical characteristic, the fact that it has a large heat capacity that allows it to do that relatively easily. So this is maybe another way of looking at what does heat capacity mean. And of course, the heat capacity of the ocean or nearby sea, depending on where you're looking at, is large for two reasons. One, the specific heat of water is big, and it's a really large amount of stuff, right? The amount of mass of water that is in an ocean or a nearby sea tends to be quite large. So altogether, that leads up to a huge heat capacity, because it turns out heat capacity is equal to specific heat times amount of mass. Let's see what the slide says. It says the high heat capacitance of the nearby large body of water resulting from relatively high specific heat of water and the large volume of it, I said mass, but that's really, those two go hand in hand, right? Explains the difference. For the coastal climate, the water is able to absorb heat in the summer, preventing temperatures from rising too high, and release heat in the winter, preventing the temperatures from dropping too much.